All right, let's talk about data as power. In short, what gets counted counts, and data is power. Data has been used to expose injustice, improve health outcomes, and topple governments, but it's also been used to discriminate, police, and surveil. There is a potential for good on the one hand and harm on the other. So we must ask, data by whom, for whom, and with whose interests in mind. Data feminism, a term coined by Catherine D'Ignazio and Lauren Klein, who had a book come out this year, talks about the narratives around big data and data science that are overwhelmingly white, male, and techno-heroic. This is often because those who are creating and deciding what gets counted are white and male. D'Ignazio and Klein present a new way of thinking about data science and data ethics, one that's informed by intersectional, that means not just female, but also all of the other things that women and females can be. They also evaluate power and examine whether data and data science uphold those with privilege, thereby oppressing those without, or whether data and data science, which of course includes GI science and cartography, can work to dismantle these systems. One way in which they do this is by evaluating missing data sets. What data sets do we have? Such as the census, which gives us lots of data about our country and the people in it. This has historically left out certain people. Think about houseless people here in Oregon. If we're collecting data about where people in our country live, it's pretty hard to collect data on people who don't have a stable home. But there's many other types of missing data sets, such as those listed on this slide. Let's talk about a few of those and the implications of these missing data sets. First, let's talk about mobility of older adults with disabilities. A group of my students in Geography 498 are working on maps which can be used by local governments for identifying where areas in the city are not accessible for people with disabilities. One serious problem here is actually understanding what mobility needs are. Until someone starts advocating for this, our society focuses largely on landscapes that are for able-bodied people, leaving people with disabilities out. By creating data sets which illustrate the problems with our cities and towns as far as accessibility, we are then able to accommodate and change our systems which focus on people of diverse needs. Next, there's no data set which keeps track of how many trans people are killed or injured in instances of hate crimes. The current data out there is notably unreliable, which means we can't make systemic changes without knowledge or the extent of this very serious problem. This is also important for getting people to realize that this is a problem and that events we hear about aren't singular events, but an actual systemic problem. When thinking about data, really we just need to evaluate who wants to know this information and why. We need to be critically evaluating why we need to collect more data on certain events and places, while also evaluating the implications of privacy for those people, especially those with less privilege.